ahead, turn that down. About to get straight into it. What's going on, beautiful people of the world? What's going on, my fellow traders, students, masters, peers? It's your boy Snipe Huncho, and basically we're going to look at all the majors and the possible ops for the week. And it's pretty interesting because everything pretty much opened up with a massive gap. As you can see, price was dangling around 1.377s, and we're at 1.39s, almost 1.398s, and that was a major gap over the weekend. So, as you may or may not know, if you follow me on any of my social medias, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, mainly Instagram. That's the only one I really post on. But go ahead and do that Instagram for sure, because I'll be focusing on trades there, and I'll just post like when I get into trades, when I get out of trades, the results of trades, and that will be linked down below. But this is a trade that we were in Friday before market close. So we bought here, right? We executed our buy model, which was basically just a draw on liquidity here, and then it was a change of structure, filling in a fair value gap / breaker block in this area. And then once we got a rejection off of that, we started buying with our stop losses below it. And I mean, it's pretty clean. So markets moves kind of choppy for sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was still pretty clean. We ended up taking our profit before market close, and I'm glad we did, because instances like this, as you can see, we opened up with a gap down, and that would have been literally that profit wiped away and actually turned into a pretty big loss if we held over the weekend. Let's see something. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. But anyways, yeah. So I'm glad we closed out. It was pretty nice day, anyways, and it was no reason for this, because at the end of the day, look what would have happened if I would have held. So we're gonna start from the top. We're gonna go from UCAD. It's gonna be hard to kind of dissect these because we are gapping up, but for the sake of that, we're just gonna go for higher time frames to delete all of that noise. So as you can see on the weekly time frame, we are currently above 2 week high right now. But as you can see, last week before it closed, we did get a close below, so we swept that week's high and we closed below it. So that can possibly mean that we could turn bearish this week. And yeah, so like if not, we could see that this gets taken out. But this tells me that this could possibly be a signal that bears can come into the markets now. So we drop down to a daily time frame and see if we can find a possible entry for this trade in a reason that can support our bias. So as you can see, we did have a pretty nice fractal that got pretty much obliterated, right? So we literally took out buy side liquidity right here. So if we do fall back into this range, that will be considered high resistance liquidity. So then this would be an area that I will look for sellers to protect if we can get a change of structure. So on the 4-hour time frame, we see this big gap. That's going to be tough to kind of play, which is why I'm not getting into a trade right off rip on this, or I don't even know where I'm going to enter at because of this big gap. I have to see some price action start falling below these highs again in order to make a educated guess on where this market could go. So I'm just going to stop there with UCAD, because everything else, I mean, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. We will drop down to the EU now. So on EU, let's go to the weekly time frame, see where we're at. Okay, so as you can see, about a couple weeks ago, we did sweep highs here, and we failed to climb back above those highs ever since. So we could see some bears come in here, but we'll see what the daily time frame tells us. So daily time frame tells us, hey, we swept highs, we've moved lower ever since then. So then what happened here? We got a change of structure right here. Change of structure, and then what do we have? A daily fair value gap here, pointing to the downside. And as you can see, on this time frame, price has been respecting that. Literally been respecting the hell out of it. So that's where my bias is. I'm looking for shorts off of this. We have a daily fair value gap that has been respected, and price cannot even close up there. So with that being said, I'm going to expect some bearish movement this week. And if we could draw into a 4-hour time frame, let's see what it's looking like now. Okay, sweet. So we have a sweep here, and then we have a small sweep here as well. So if we can get some nice price action below this, right below this level. Okay, I would like to see a break retest of that, and then we could possibly see shorts come in. Our stop losses will be somewhere around here. So whether we get a fib entry, our stop loss will be based off of that fib. But if not, the very closest point I'll put is right here at a 48 pip stop loss. And then TP1 will be here. That's 1.33. That's a little bit over 1R. But if we keep moving, as you can see, we have some low resistance liquidity still that has not been taken out here. So of course this will take time because it's based off the 4-hour time frame. So this will take a lot of time to play out. That's 2R if we aim for these lows here. If we aim for extreme lows, which would be kind of hard to get because we do have high resistance liquidity here, but it's not impossible. That's 2.7R. So this would be a nice swing trade, and this would be something that I will risk a lot on. Let's go to the next trade. NZD/USD. All right, let's go to the weekly time frame, see where we're at. All right, we have bearish price action right now on the weekly time frame, so we're going to look for sales, but the best sales is after the market moves up. So we're going to look for some sort of manipulation, and as you can see, we have a weekly bearish fair value gap that can definitely be filled. It has not been touched yet. Boom. So if price could come up here, I could drop down to a lower time frame to then get our sell model, and then, you know, see what happens there. So we're not that far from this level. On the weekly time frame, it looked like it was far away. On daily time frame, it does not look far away. But just remember that this is a weekly fair value gap right here. Even though it doesn't show a fair value gap on the daily right now, that is a weekly fair value gap. So that's going to be a very, very strong level if price can come to here. So I'm going to set an alert right now because I want to know as soon as price comes here. Okay. Let's jump into the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so we're getting some really nice price action here. So this is really just accumulating a lot of lows. So this is a lot of sell side liquidity right here. Right. So if we get a manipulation up until this area, which is like a heavy move, a heavy hit, or like say like news sends us up here, then, you know, we can look to sell that news candle, or however we get up here, whatever candle we get up here, we're going to look for our sell model, which is a change of structure, which would be like right here, then pull back to a fair value gap to then look for sales. Okay, pretty simple. That's going to be the setup that we're looking for there. Let's go to UChef. Now, UChef, this is looking good. I've been tracking this for like over a week now. If you go to the daily time frame, you can see that we have a draw on liquidity right here. Okay, so what happened after that? It stayed down here for a day or two, but on that second day, we did close back above into this range, and then after that, we kind of retested down to this fair value gap and then pushed up. So now that we have a change of structure, we have an inverted head and shoulders, we have a draw on liquidity, and what do we have now? Okay, if you look at this closely, we have a bullish fair value gap. Okay, and it's been respecting this on the daily time frame. We came down here twice, respected the hell out of it. Pretty sweet, right? So we're going to look for prices to move higher. Now, this trade may take a long time to play out because look at all of this buy-side liquidity just sitting here. Okay, that's just like beautiful. This is like an A+ trade with a cherry on top because of all of this resting liquidity just waiting to be taken. And we have even more to the left as well, right? But like I said, to collect all of that, you're going to be waiting days, most likely weeks. You know what I'm saying? Unless something drastic can happen. But remember, guys, anything, virtually anything can happen. Virtually anything can happen. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm expecting for all of this liquidity to be taken eventually, but I'm going to be looking for the closest draw on liquidity first. Okay, because I want to get paid first. So as you can see, that every single thing as far as criteria is already met. Okay, like I said, we have this bearish fair value gap here. We are under a, or we already got our 50% drawdown already. So now it's just we're waiting for this thing to fly. So if I decided to buy right now, which would not be an invalid move, because like I said, everything's already met, then targets would be here below the candle rejection of that fair value gap, or a stop loss, my bad, and then targets will be here starting off. Okay, I want price to come up to this first level of resistance and then take me out. Okay, that's going to be a 2.38 R trade, right? I risk a band on this, that's easily 2 bands, right? I risk 500, that's easily a little over 1,000. You see what I'm saying? So then say this gets hit, then we could possibly look for runners. So then we could go here, which would be 3R. We can go here, which would be 3.8R. We can go here, which would be pretty much almost a 5R trade. Okay, so you can do this a couple of ways. You could twin trade, put on a few positions, and then just set all these for TPs. Or you could set one main position where you just max it out, like as big as you. I'm not saying like risk your entire account, but like max out however much you're able to risk on any given trade. Max that out, and then as price comes to these levels, you can literally start taking partials. So my bad. This will be the second take profit, right? The very first take profit would be right here, which is a 1-to-1. Okay, so this would be a solid area to either go risk free or take some money off the table, right? If you read Trading in the Zone or Trading Psychology 2.0, what does it preach? That always take your money when the market pretty much provides it for you. Okay, so if the market is saying, hey, the state, like it's valuable to take some money right now, to take the profits off the table, go ahead and take these profits off the table. Okay, pay yourself for the hard work that you did. Okay, and then it's going to help you get in that routine of paying yourself, right? And that's the vibration you ultimately want to rest in. Okay, so that is what I'm expecting for USD CHF. Now if we drop down to GU, I think we already talked about GU. Yeah, this is the trade that I left off on last week that I ended up taking profit on. We're gonna skip that. Okay, AUD USD, what's going on here? Right, weekly time frame, nothing crazy, but we can tell that we are in an uptrend. We did get a sweep of this high, and we fell back into the range. So let's drop down to the daily time frame and see what price action is telling us. So as you can see, this daily area got swept and then closed right back above. Pretty much what happened on USD CHF. Okay, so now we got pretty much a change of structure here, and we got a pullback. Now we do have a fair value gap that seems to be getting respected right there. Okay, but is it a valid entry? No, because we do not have our 50% retracement. So a better fair value gap would be this one down here. Okay, so we could expect price to come pushing down here and then turn around, and then go to highs. Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty solid trade. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my favorites as well. I'm gonna move it to the top. 80 USD, put USD CHF up there. Then last but not least, we're gonna break down USD JPY. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, we got a really big gap on UJ. Let's go to the weekly time frame. What's been happening? We closed out on a pretty nice bearish candle last week, and then we gapped that. We pretty much engulfed that back on a gap. All right. There is a fair value gap that is being respected here, but as far as cooking up a trade for this, I mean, honestly, the only thing that I can think of right now is, hey, we have a fair value gap here that is pretty much inverted by this gap. So if we do get price movement to come back down in there, we can see if it can support or move up. Okay. But yeah, anything can happen with this. Honestly, I'm not really liking it. So this is probably just gonna be like something I just watch out for, but watch it plays out though. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. A bonus one would be, let's go to a cross. GPCHF. So if we go to our weekly time frame, we notice that we do have lows being accumulated and highs being accumulated, and nothing really significant taken out. Okay, other than last week's weekly candle took out the previous week's high and then fell back into the range. If we drop out to a daily standpoint, right? We had this pretty nice move here that swept out this area. Then we came back above it, and now we're pretty much down there retesting once again, down on this level. But if you drop into the 4-hour time frame, you got to see something that's kind of emerging that I have drawn out. So we drop into a lower time frame. This is where you see my sessions. So as you can see, agent session from Friday is when I'm basing this off of. This is a point of control. As you can see, price has just been swinging around this point of control, but we have yet to touch these highs here. We pretty much just been met with a lower high every time we came up to this area. So that's just pretty much accumulating buy side liquidity, right? And what happened on this gap down? We had already took out New York lows from last Friday. We also took out London lows on Friday as well, but this gap down pretty much took out New York lows. So with that being said, we have a draw on liquidity. Then what do we have? We have a nice bearish candle. Then we have a change of structure, right? Then we have a pullback into a 15-minute fair value gap, which is right here, which follows up with a fib entry as well. So I'm currently trading this. I'm currently in this trade. So if you're here, you can literally hop in this trade right now. Stop loss. Since I'm actively managing this, this is where I'm expecting to get out in case it does get hit, because I have a rule that basically if price starts to basically close down into my fair value gap, it is disrespecting it, and it can turn it into inversion to support the move down in this case. So I have my stop loss a little bit beyond the fair value gap, so I want to manage it, actively manage this trade and see if price is going to start closing down in here. If we keep getting rejections to the upside, then that's good news. Only thing I do not like about this trade is that we are not in session currently. GBP CHF, literally, I'm not supposed to be trading until like 1 a.m. So that is one rule that I'm breaking right now. I'm not gonna lie, and the only reason I'm breaking it is because for like the past like 2 weeks, from Sunday to Monday, and I placed a trade off rip that is a setup, a buy model or a sell model. It usually hits. So I'm testing out theory again on this Monday as well. This Monday session. Now we do have CHF news coming out at like 3 a.m. I believe. So we're gonna see what happens with that as well. So I might have overstepped my boundaries, and I might have, you know what I'm saying, I might have a losing position on my hand. But like I said, willing to take the risk. As long as I'm willing to lose what I'm risking, I'm fine. Okay, I'm fine. It's all about capital preservation and always hooking into that next winning trade. So with that being said, guys, this was really just a test to see how this live will go. I got my live set up today, and you know, I ran a test earlier, and now I'm running a test actually live streaming, inviting viewers. So next live stream is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to try to live stream every day this week, pretty much as far as sessions and what's unfolding in the markets and how we're going to take advantage of it. And I feel like it's a much more like, I don't know, it's just a better way than just posting on Instagram, but I'm still going to post on Instagram as well. But yeah, next time we're on here, share this link, get as many people in here as possible, because it definitely helps me out. It helps this community grow, because guys, I'm here for you, right? Yes, it's nice to make money, but I want to help other people make money. Okay, that's the impact I want to leave on the trading space and the trading community. I want to help change others' lives. I don't just want to keep this skill to myself. I've always said this back when I was teaching at first, when I kind of knew what I was doing. And now I'm swinging it back around to it. So let's do it. Let's grow. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. And yeah, peace. You can run this back as many times as possible, because it's going to be on my YouTube channel. So like I said, guys, share, like, subscribe. Peace out. Lear.